In this video, I'm going to show you how to hang a heavy picture or a mirror. And spoiler alert, we are going to be using a French cleat. Let's get started. Welcome back, folks. Kendall here with Renos Pros and Joes, helping you simplify the renovation and remodeling process. Here we do hands-on product, tool, and gear reviews, as well as renovation tip and strategy videos. So if you're interested in renovation, remodeling, repair, real estate, home improvement, or property maintenance, then this channel and this content is for you. So today I'm going to be showing you how to hang a heavy picture or mirror, and we are going to be using a French cleat. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here's our French cleat kit. We're going to need a tape measure, and you're going to need a pencil or something to mark with. The first thing we're going to first decide is going to be what side we want to install our mounting hardware on. Now, this mirror is longer in this direction than it is in this direction, so we're going to be installing the hardware here along this edge. That's really just going to depend on what your preference is. So let's go ahead and tear the package open. So we've got both sides of our mounting bracket there. And then we've got our screws and our little level and stuff like that. So the first thing that we want to determine is going to be which side gets attached to the wall and which side gets attached to the mirror or the picture frame. And so this is going to be the side that attaches to the wall. And we know that because we have this groove here where we install our level here. And so this piece is going to be installed this way, screwed into the wall from the bottom. This flange is going to be sitting out from the wall like this. And then this portion is going to be attached to our mirror. And then we're going to clip it over here. And that's what's going to hold it in place securely. So let's go ahead and set this piece to the side. And we're going to be working with this piece. And we're going to be installing on this side. And the screws that we're going to be using to attach to our mirror are going to be these. We've got two different size screws in here. These are the long ones that are designed to go into the wall and hold. So we've got 3 of those with this kit. Depending on the size of the French cleat, you may end up with more of those wall anchors, or you may end up with more of these screws for whatever you're going to be hanging on the wall. So we've got 3 of these. So the next thing that we want to do is take our tape measure, and we want to measure our mounting strip here because we want to center it on the side that we're going to mount on. And so let's first go ahead and measure off here. And we are 40.5 inches. And so halfway on this is going to be 20.25. We'll just take our pencil here and just make a very light mark. So we know that's our center line. And then the next thing we want to do is measure the length of this. This is 1 foot long. So half of 12 inches, well, it's right at 12 inches. It's kind of shy. Now, when you're doing these, keep in mind it does not have to be super spot on exactly. You want to get it as close as you can, but you don't want to fret over that because this is going to be able to be adjusted along the wall. Remember how it's going to fit on the wall. These 2 pieces, this piece is going to be stationary on the wall, but essentially it's just going to be clipped in here. So if you need to scoot it over slightly, to the left or to the right, you're going to be good doing that. So with that said, this piece is really 11.75 inches instead of being 12. We're just going to call it 12, and we're going to split the difference here along the line that we just made. And so we're just going to measure out 6 inches from this mark. And then we're going to do the same thing back in this direction, measuring 6 back in this direction. So we know that this piece is going to be attached like this. We can use our tape measure again to make sure that we've got this piece mounted far enough down on our mirror. Now, one thing that I want to caution you on when you're going to do these type of installs, you want to look closely at the frame on your mirror picture frame to make sure that you're going to be screwing it into a place that's going to be secure, as well as an area that is not going to pop through on the other side of the mirror or on the picture frame. And so that's going to be something that you want to definitely pay attention to. And you want to take a very close look at the size of these screws, because that's going to determine how far through or how deep that frame has to be in order for you to not go all the way through. Now, you could subtract the thickness of the metal piece and you can see how far it has to go through. Likewise, we're going to be drilling pilot holes for each one of the 3 places that we're going to be screwing in on this piece. And I'm going to show you a way to make sure that you don't drill your hole through too far as well. Okay, so I want to mount my hardware 1/2 inch in. And so I'm going to go here, mark it at 1/2 inch, come over here, mark it 1/2 inch, and then here again, and mark it at 1/2 inch. Make sure everything looks good. Now I'm going to line up my bracket here, make sure everything looks good. And I am going to install my screws, one in each end and then one here in the center. So I'm going to mark here, making first sure that I can see my marks. Then I'm going to mark here. I'm going to mark here, and I'm going to mark here. Now, if you've got additional screws, then you can really mark all these holes if that's what you want to do. You just need to pick which ones you're going to attach through. You don't need to insert screws into every single one of these spots, but you do need to mark off at least 3 of these that you're going to use, preferably on either end as well as one in the center. And so I'm probably going to just select to use this one here in the center, and I'm going to use the ones on the very end. I'm going to make that mark very clear. Got carried away there. And then this is the one that I want to mark off and go there with. So the next thing I'm going to show you is going to be how to make sure you don't drill too far through. All right, so I've got my drill here, and the first thing that I want to do is take a look here at my bit. I'm using a really small bit today. All right, so now we're going to use that tape. Got this drill bit that we're going to use, and then we're going to take our tape and tear it off, and we're going to also compare how long our screw is here, and it is right at 1/2 inch long. And so we want to make sure that we are not longer than 1/2 inch here on our bit. And so we'll go ahead and mark that. There we go. And so that's kind of gives us a little buffer there to stop with our drill. So the first hole's right here, and we're going to go ahead and just deep enough there. And then we marked here as where we wanted to have that next one. So let's make sure we clean that out so we can clearly see. Got that one. And then we're going to do this one here on the end as well. All right, so let's go ahead and take our mounting bracket. Go ahead and line everything up and make sure that it looks good. Now we're going to pull out our bit here and our impact driver. So we're just going to go ahead and seat that. Let's go ahead and drive the first one. I'm not going to tighten it all the way down yet. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and double check that. Looks like exact. We go ahead and pop that one in there. And then we'll go ahead and put our third one in here. So now we've got all three of them in there. You can hear that that's in there firmly. So now we're ready to actually hang the portion that's going to go on the wall. And remember that this is 40.5 inches long. One more thing that we need to get clear on before we go inside is going to be the distance that this is going to sit off of the wall. And so here we can go ahead and fit these together the way that they will sit on the wall. So we just kind of slide this piece in underneath into our bracket here, like I was mentioning before. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is dry fit our pieces together, and we want to go ahead and slide this portion in that fits on the wall. And we're going to go ahead and measure from here back down to this side, because what we're trying to figure out is going to be how much room we have to play with from this edge to this edge, so that we can account for that on the wall and make sure that we're marking a location exactly where we want it. So from the top of our mirror frame down to the bottom of this flange, it is exactly 2.5 inches. So I know that wherever I hang this on the wall, I can measure 2.5 inches up above this, and that is going to be an indicator of where the top of my mirror is going to sit. Or put another way, I can also put my mirror up on the wall first, and then I can subtract the 2.5 inches down from that height, and I'll know that that's where the bottom of my bracket needs to be for me to be able to locate this, so that I can go ahead and make my marks on here and then drill my holes. All right, so it's pretty dim in here, but the first thing we want to do is measure out how much space we've got here to work with. So the wall that I'm working on is right at 48 inches long. And remember, our mirror is 40.5 inches long. So that's going to leave us with 3.75 inches on each side of this to have it exactly centered, or almost right in there. So we can pretty much just measure off 3.75 from this end and make sure that we've got it at our correct height, and we can go ahead and mount our wall bracket. So again, here's that bracket, and here's our level. Once you've got your marks located on the wall, you want to put this up there and make sure that it is leveled. Let me go ahead and let you see exactly what this looks like. So once you got it level, you can see that this is moving as this is moving. So you have to make sure that you've got it lined up exactly in between those two lines before you make your pilot marks here. And then you can take this down and you can make your drill hole. And more. It's level. All right, folks. Hopefully you found this video helpful and informative, and I'll see you on the next one.